My name is Cullen Bosman, and this is my audience. There's also the person holding the camera. A close friend of mine has been bilingual since she was a young child. I did not know this, and it came as quite a shock to me when she started speaking French in the middle of a otherwise completely normal conversation. Honestly, when it first happened, I kind of thought I just forgot how to speak English. Bilingualism is valuable everywhere from across our planet to in our own neighborhoods here at home. Save for Ireland, every country in Europe requires at least one other language, with most of them requiring at least two languages to graduate high school, or primary school, I guess. This practice equips European students to handle many different situations that American students are generally under-equipped to handle. For instance, everyone will meet someone who speaks Spanish at some point in their life. Not everyone will be required to use the Pythagorean theorem. Second languages should be required in American schools due to previous experiences we've had running into language barriers, further education and better job opportunities for our citizens, and improved international relations for Americans when traveling abroad. There have been many examples of times we needed multilingual people and did not have them. This in 2001, 9/11 happened. It was a tragedy that possibly could not have been prevented by people who spoke Arabic, but that year and the year after, only 8,700 students across America were enrolled in Arabic classes. When we moved into those countries and we had our forces stationed there, and still do to this day, we were under-equipped. We did not have enough translators. We did not have enough people that spoke the native languages of those countries, and therefore had to utilize sources from within those countries. During the Cold War, Congress passed a bill called the National Defense Education Act, which provided incentives for universities and colleges to push and teach classes that provided students with the information to learn strategic languages, as they were called. These strategic languages were mostly Russian. It was pretty much just Russian. They really liked that. But it did open the door for more languages to be introduced and more languages to be taught in American classrooms. As close as in 2014, when the Ebola epidemic happened, even after we had found a vaccine for the virus, tens of thousands of African citizens died because we could not convey the information needed to those areas because we did not have people who spoke the native languages. Those are tens of thousands of lives that could have been saved if we just had people who spoke those languages. Furthermore, in our own country, education and jobs all look for employees or students who have experience in another language. Many four-year colleges, almost all of them, require at least 3 years now of a second language in high school. In terms of employment, most jobs ask that you speak another language, and regardless of your career choice, speaking a second language will give you an advantage in that field. A 2012 study shows that bilingual Latinos make on average $15,000 more than English-speaking Latinos, than Latinos who only speak English. And also, speaking another language gives you the opportunity to study abroad, which doesn't need much more introduction. I believe we all wish we had studied abroad in high school or college. And if you had, that's awesome. I wish I had too. Internationally, Americans don't have the best image among other countries. This is due to us being kind of a self-centered people. We kind of like it when other people mold into our culture and not so much us mold into them. Much of this is due to the fact that we refuse to speak any language other than English. Many of us don't even like other languages that aren't English being spoken within our borders. Most of my classmates have taken a spring break trip or a Christmas vacation trip down to Mexico, which, as many of you know, is Spanish speaking. None of my classmates speak Spanish. This led to many awkward conversations and difficult times, albeit on the beach in Mexico for my classmates, as well as me personally. I've lived in Arizona, and as a not Spanish speaking person, most of Arizona speaks Spanish, and I was left at a disadvantage in that part of my life. While we may not be as close to as many languages as European countries where it is required to learn multiple languages, we do have Spanish speaking Mexico just to our south, and then Canada, which is a French speaking country, as well as an English speaking country, bordering us to the north. As Ohioans, this is one that we should probably be more concerned about, as Canada and specifically Quebec, where it is primarily French speaking, are very close to us. For a country that likes to think our language is the only one that matters, English is not the most spoken language in the world. That, in fact, falls to Mandarin, which, when I was in elementary school, was recommended to me multiple times as a second language, including by the girl who sat next to me, who was Mandarin. From learned lessons in our country's history, better employment and college opportunities for our citizens, and improved relations for Americans when traveling abroad, I believe it is obvious that at least one second language should be required for American students to graduate high school.